Hello everyone, my name is Maclena Samuels. I am your teaching assistant for BA101 for the fall semester 2020. We are going to start chapter 11 today. Chapter 11 is on international strategic management. Strategic management is an important concept in international business. International strategic management process deals with a set of commitments, decisions, and actions organizations take to create superior value for customers in ways that cannot be imitated. Thereby, a firm will achieve a competitive advantage. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to apply the following learning objectives of this chapter. Characterize the challenges of international strategic management. Assess the basic strategic alternatives available to firms. Distinguish and analyze the components of international strategy. Describe the international strategic management process. Identify and characterize the levels of international strategies. I want to also encourage you to pay close attention to the subject matter introduced in this chapter so that you will be well grounded in the concepts of international strategic management. We will start off by looking at challenges of international strategic management. International strategic management is a comprehensive, ongoing management planning process aimed at formulating and implementing strategies that enable an organization to compete effectively in the global marketplace. Once a firm has been able to identify international opportunities, the firm must develop international strategies that is based on its resources and capabilities. A firm's ability to realize strategic competitiveness is strengthened by management's ability to manage effectively and efficiently a complex organization with locations in multiple countries and the economic and political risks that accompany firm internationalization. This is just a picture showing top managers coming together to identify the international business strategy for their firm based on its resources and capabilities. There are some fundamental questions managers in organizations need to address whether their firm is competing in a single country or multiple countries. Slide 5 provides a list of these fundamental questions and a list of complex issues that managers must understand and address with regards to doing business internationally. These questions include: what products and or services does the firm intend to sell? Where and how will it make these products or services? Where and how will it sell them? Where and how will it acquire the necessary resources? How does the firm expect to outperform its competitors? Managers must understand and deal with foreign exchange rates, multiple governments, currencies, accounting system, political systems, and legal systems globally, but particularly in regions where they do business or regions the firm intends to explore business opportunities, as well as a variety of language and cultures. Managers must also implement strategic plans among business units located in different parts of the world, as well as monitor and control the firm's strategic outcomes. Here are some of the challenges of international strategic management. Global efficiencies. This includes firms locating their facilities anywhere in the world that will yield them the lowest production cost or lowest distribution costs that best improves the quality of service they offer to customers. Nike is a good example of a firm's global efficiency. In order for Nike to adapt to the international market, the organization maintained continuous international expansion. As shown in this picture, Nike has business opportunities in 180 countries. Global efficiency is a firm's ability to improve the method of how employees, vendors, and suppliers commit to the best ecological practices, eliminate or reduce waste, and productively create safe and reliable consumer products and services. Multinational flexibility. This challenge includes the dynamic changes in global marketplaces, such as social, political, economical, technological risks, which vary widely. Also note that these environments can change constantly. For example, in the food industry, there is an increase in the demand of chicken breasts due to consumers becoming more health conscious. In Russia and China, dark meat is preferred and considered tastier. Another challenge of international strategic management is worldwide learning. Business environments throughout the world are not all the same. Firms wishing to promote worldwide learning must implement strategies within its organizational structure that promotes knowledge transfer among its subsidiaries and its headquarters. Firms with international marketplaces adjust its operations from one country to the next. Firms learn from the differences and transfer the learning to its operations in other countries. For example, McDonald's has marketplaces in many different countries worldwide. The menu is not exactly the same at each marketplace. For example, in China, rice is added to their menu to satisfy the needs of its customers and for the business to be competitive. Here is a picture of McDonald's indicating its global presence in the marketplace. There are some strategic alternatives that multinational enterprises adopt in the foreign marketplace, such as home replication strategy. The home replication strategy is sometimes called the export strategy or international strategy. In the home replication strategy, a firm identifies what it does exceptionally well in its home market and attempts to replicate it in a foreign market. The firm emphasizes replicating home country-based competencies in foreign countries. A firm conducts business the same way anywhere in the world where it has a marketplace. Multi-domestic strategy. A multi-domestic strategy has emphasis on competition in each country in which the firm competes. Firms using a multi-domestic strategy decentralize strategic and operating decisions to the business units operating in each country it competes, so that each unit can tailor its products to meet its local customers. Global strategy is another strategic alternative. A global strategy assumes more standardization of products across country boundaries. This is the primary goal of this strategy. The global strategy is a competitive strategy centralized and controlled by the Home Office. In simple terms, the power and decision-making responsibility concentrates at a central headquarters location. Transnational strategy, which is another strategic alternative, seeks to integrate characteristics of both multi-domestic and global strategies for the purpose of being able to simultaneously emphasize local responsiveness and global integration. A firm carefully assigns responsibility for various organizational tasks to achieve efficiency and flexibility. For example, firms centralize management functions such as research and development and decentralize other management functions such as human resource management. Figure 11.1 illustrates 4 strategic approaches that managers in an organization must address for the organization's strategic development. Let's look at each of the 4 strategic approaches. Number 1 is distinctive competence. Firms use this approach to achieve competitive advantage outside its home market. This is where the firm asks the question, what do they do exceptionally well, especially as compared to their competitors? The distinctive competence represents an important resource of the firm. For example, Disney's name, image, and portfolio of characters. Scope of operations. The scope of operations approach lets firms pose the question of where are they going to conduct business internationally. This is providing firms to focus on the geographical regions where and to which target markets, products, and services will be sold. Resource deployment is another strategic approach. The resource deployment gives firms the opportunity to address the question of how should the firm allocate its resources. This strategy determines relative priorities for a firm's limited resources. Resource deployment might be specified along product lines, geographical lines, or both. For example, Boeing concentrates final assembly of most of its commercial aircraft in the Seattle and Washington area. Some large organizations may choose to deploy their resources worldwide. Synergy is the 4th strategic approach we're going to look at in this chapter. What is synergy and what does it do relating to international business? Synergy. This strategy lets firms pose an interesting question. How can different elements of a firm business benefit each other? With this strategic approach, firms ask, how can different elements of the firm's business benefit each other? The goal of the synergy strategy is for firms to create a situation in which the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. This idea is about how much better things are together than in separate pieces. There are two stages firms carry out in developing international strategies, namely strategy formulation and strategy implementation. Let us further expound on these two stages. Strategy formulation is also referred to as strategic planning. This is the process a firm chooses to establish and achieve its goals. Through strategy formulation or strategic planning, management of a firm is able to evaluate its resources and determine the best methods to maximize the firm's return on investment. Strategy implementation is the process a firm uses to put its plans and strategies into action in order to achieve its desired goals. The strategic plan is a written document detailing the steps and processes needed for the firm to reach its desired goals. These are the steps firms implement in developing international strategies. Firms have a unique strategic planning process to meet its own resources and capabilities. Yet, there are some basic steps managers of firms follow. Figure 11.2 lists the steps as follows. Develop mission statement, perform SWOT analysis, set strategic goals, develop tactical goals and plans, develop control framework. The first step in the international strategy formulation is the creation of a mission statement. The mission statement specifies the business, the firm's purpose, values, and directions, which will include the firm's target customers and markets, principal products or services, the geographical area, core technologies, concerns for survival, plans for growth and profitability, basic philosophy, and the firm's desired public image. The mission statement is developed by the CEO, top-level managers of the firm, and other organizational members. A multinational enterprise may have multiple mission statements, which must all be compatible. One for the overall firm and then one for each of the firm's foreign subsidiaries. The second step in developing international strategies is the environmental scanning and the SWOT analysis of the firm. One leading tool in global business is the SWOT analysis. I want to emphasize at this point that all business students should know the SWOT analysis very well. SWOT, S-W-O-T, is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The SWOT analysis is a strategic planning technique that determines a firm's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the face of the firm's competition and/or project planning. Strengths and weaknesses are internal to a firm. These are the things a firm has some control over and can change. Strengths are the internal positive attributes of a firm. Weaknesses are negative factors that detract from a firm's strength. The weaknesses are the areas a firm needs to improve to be competitive and more successful. Opportunities and threats are external things that are going on outside a firm. Firms take advantage of opportunities and protect against threats, but they cannot change the opportunities and the threats. This is a picture of Walmart SWOT analysis. Figure 11.3 illustrates the value chain. The value chain depicts primary and support activity that can be the source of an organizational strengths and weakness. The value chain concept was developed by Harvard Business School professor Michael Porter. The value chain is one technique for assessing a firm's strengths and weaknesses. The value chain is a breakdown of the firm into its important activities, which includes production, marketing, human resource management. The value chain enables firms to identify its competitive advantage and disadvantages. The mission statement and the SWOT analysis provide the setting of a firm's strategic goals. These goals are the specific financial and non-financial objectives and results a firm aims to accomplish through pursuing a particular course of action over a specific period of time. The strategic goals should be measurable, feasible, and time limited. After a SWOT analysis has been performed and the firm's strategic goals set, the next step in the strategic planning is to develop specific tactical goals and plans. Tactical planning outlines the short-term steps and actions that should be taken to achieve the goals described in the strategic plan. Tactical plans usually involve middle managers and focus on the details of implementing the firm's strategic goals. The last step in developing international strategies is for the firm to develop control framework. The framework is a managerial process plus organizational processes, and these two equals strategic goals. The control framework is a data structure that organizes and categorizes a firm's internal controls, which are practices and procedures established to create business value and minimize risk. The control framework can prompt revisions in any of the preceding steps in the strategy formulation process. We will discuss the control framework further in Chapter 14. There are three levels of corporate strategy for multinational corporations. As shown in figure 11.4, these three levels are corporate strategy, business strategy, and functional strategy. The corporate strategy level of developing international strategies is the overall goals of the business. It is often expressed in financial terms. The corporate strategy answers the foundational question of what the firm wants to achieve. The corporate strategy defines the area of businesses in which the firm intends to operate. In this chapter, we will look at three forms of corporate strategy, namely single business strategy. Single business strategy is when the firm relies on a single business, product, or service for all its revenue. The most significant advantage of the single business strategy is that the firm can concentrate all its resources and expertise on that one product or service. There is also a disadvantage of the single business strategy, as this strategy increases the firm's vulnerability to competition and changes in the firm's external environment. Next, we will look at the related diversification strategy, which is part of the corporate strategy. The most common corporate strategy is the related diversification strategy. The firm operates in several different but fundamentally related businesses, industries, or markets at the same time. This strategy allows the firm to add or expand its existing line of production or its market to strengthen its competitive advantage. A firm operates in several unrelated industries and markets, and that's unrelated diversification strategy. For example, a firm that produces shoes enters the business of clothing manufacturing. This chart shows the different aspects of the business strategy. This strategy focuses on specific businesses, subsidiaries, or operating units within the firm. The business strategy refers to the actions and decisions that a firm takes to reach its goals and gain competitive advantage. There are three forms of business strategy. One is differentiation. That's when a firm uses differentiation strategy to establish and maintain the image that its products or services are different from other products or services in the same industry. If the firm is successful, the firm can charge higher prices for their products or services. Some other firms implement value as their differentiating factor. In this case, the firm's competition is based on charging reasonable prices for its goods and services. Cost leadership is another form of business strategy. A firm that uses the cost leadership strategy controls its costs by increasing its efficiencies and reducing its production costs below the industry's average or cost of the firm's closest competitor. A firm's successful overall cost leadership strategy results in lower per unit profitability, which is due to lower prices but higher total profitability due to increased sales volume. Focus strategy is the third form of business strategy. A firm targets specific types of products for certain customer groups or regions. The focus strategy allows the firm to match the features of specific products to the needs of specific consumer goods. Functional strategy is the last level of international strategy we will cover in this chapter. The functional strategy supports the corporate strategy and the strategic business units in a firm. The functional strategy addresses the question, how will the firm manage the functions of finance, marketing, operations, human resources, and research and development in ways that is consistent with the firm's international corporate and business strategies. The international financial strategy deals with issues such as the firm's desired capital structure, its investment policies, foreign exchange holdings, risk reduction techniques, debt policies, and working capital management. The international operations strategy deals with the creation of the firm's products or services. It guides decisions on such issues as sourcing, plant location, plant layout and design, technology, and inventory management. The international human resource strategy focuses on the people who work for an organization. It guides decisions regarding how the firm will recruit, train, and evaluate employees, what the firm will pay the employees, how the firm will deal with labor relations. A firm's international research and development strategy is concerned with the magnitude and direction of the firm's investment in creating new products and developing new technologies. Here are some review questions. I would like you to go over these questions and try to answer them to help you review the concepts of international strategic management. This is the end of chapter 11. Please send in any questions you have on the dashboard. See you next week.